So, you tell me that of all the first civilization we came with and other massive things we invented as Africans, we failed to make shoes. We really had to wait for Europe in the medieval, which proved to have had most assistance for civilization. Something's fishy here. Speaking about fish, ethnology research conducted found footwear tracks on a South African beach, proving to be the oldest evidence of human footwear. Just to rewind for those who don't know, Moors are ancient Africans who occupied Europe in the Middle Ages, helping them with civilization, meaning they built most of their castles and much more civilization while ruling them as well. Probably similar to what we see Europeans currently do to Africa. Ethnology is a study of fossil tracks and traces. It helps to answer unresolved questions through a search of unclear evidence of footprints made by animals and humans. Charles Ham from Nelson Mandela University published an article that illuminated me while asking the question of where and when did our ancestral fashion footwear start. They went on an ecology quest to answer this question and fill the gaps. For about 15 years, identified more than 350 vertebrate track sites along the Cape Coast. This included human tracks that seemed to be walking and jogging barefoot. Of course, it was on the beach. However, though they proved that they walked barefoot by toe impressions, they also found well-preserved impressions that contained the toes. So, both I and these researchers agree that there are a lot of gaps and little research on footwear origin. I think it's a sabotage. It was intentional because they can't admit to Africa being innovative. I mean, we made the first technology to create bone tools. So these ethnologists believe that it was the bone tools that were probably used to make shoes. Now I'm conflicted by the fact that with so much evidence on the massive developments we created in the ancient times, we then failed to make shoes. So much that Europeans had to show us. I mean, research proves that Southern Africa was one region where human cognitive and practical ability developed ancients ago. The ecologists had to study the Sand People's sandals, meaning the Sand People who had sandals that they used in the Kalahari Desert. This allowed them to duplicate the similar designs just to make sense of how the first shoes looked like. After the craftsmanship, they went to the Cape South Coast to track the footwear traces. What they found is profound. The footwear designs were open, hard soles, tracks made on moist and soft cohesive sand. Those were the findings from the 3 fossil tracks. Another interesting question answered in this research was, why make shoes? Our ancestors, which is the period of the shoe's existence, that is about 130 to 70,000 years ago, crafted shoes because they already had developed tools to make clothes. Now, shoes would have been a logical invention, right? Plus, Cape Coast has sharp rocks today. Imagine in the Middle Stone Ages. That meant a deep injury, and deep injuries might have led to death, so they needed shoes for protection. Not this illogical explanation on some sources that we waited for Europe to teach us shoes. I want to send my shout out to Charles Helm and the ethnologists on this project for contributing positively to Africa and the footwear industry. See you on the next day of Footcast.